Good afternoon, hello, welcome to the TriathlonDan YouTube channel, welcome to race day. So I'm at the Kerber Sprint Circuit again. It's the third time I've been here. However, tonight, as I wave my banana skin at you, I'm actually racing. So leg update, it's been a lot better the last couple of days. I've done a couple of bike rides, went out on the club chain gang last night. I just sat on the bike, but it was absolutely fine. Did a ride with Liz the day before, so I'm pretty happy that I'm going to be okay on the bike. If I'm not, I will just stop. But I've got an entry to this race, so I'm going to give it a go. There's three of us in the Cat 4 men's, and Kate is in the Cat 2, 3, 4 women's, and they've just started. So you can see them blatting around. Now, there's Kate. Now, obviously me riding and not spectating, I haven't got the drone with me today and I'm not going to get any footage, but I'm going to give this camera to my club mate Richard, who is a wannabe vlogger, so let's pass it over to him and let's give it a good go. It has been raining on and off, so the surface is a bit damp, but we're going to try and keep it upright and just have a good race. I think there's about 25 people in our race, so what we're going to do, like top 5 for all of us? Easy. Let's go. Lewis's first race tonight. Lewis, how was it?
Yeah, great, enjoyed it. Yeah,
good fun. Lewis, ex-motocross rider, so elbows out.
They didn't look that bad from me at corners, looking for a pint. I'm joking. Suck on my pipe. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was great.
Yeah, good.
Saxby, how'd you get on?
All right.
In the points again?
In the points, yeah.
We think we didn't really know it was a mess.
I think I won the sprint in the group I was in.
Oh wow, there's only 4 at the road then?
Yeah.
That's 5th?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I think I was 6th or 7th then.
Yeah, yeah. It was good, so.
Good work. So a bit of a race recap. So 4 got away early on and you nearly got in the break, didn't you? You're halfway between the second group and the break, and I was on the front of the second group, so I was like, I didn't want to close him down, and it was pretty hard anyway, and then bring the whole group back together, but you didn't quite get on the front group, did you? But
just the corners a bit damp, just bottling it a bit, I think.
You lose a little bit of momentum on the corner, it takes you that bit of an extra dig to get back on, so that's good. And then the second half of the race, we pretty much, I'd say we controlled that group.
Yeah, me and you on the front basically.
Yeah,
most of the time.
just covering moves and people were having little attacks and making sure that we're well positioned in that group, because that was our race then. It was then the best result we can get, unless we commit to bringing the breakaway back, which we couldn't, was to get a good result in that sprint. So you think you were first in that bunch, I think I was 2nd or 3rd. I didn't even lead you out at all. With a lap to go, I was 3rd or 4th wheel and I was pretty much gone. So I just hung in and then tried to kick off the corner. But no, good race, good outing. You're very, very close to your 3rd cat now, then, aren't you? You need a couple of points.
Top 8, I think.
Whoa, here we go. When's the next race?
I haven't booked one.
Oh, come on. Blimey. Mallory next week. It's an hour. Up to the airfield.
An hour.
Anyway, cracking outing. Are you coming back, Lewis?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Look forward to it.
Good to hear.
Good.
Brilliant. I just realised I did this whole outro and didn't actually talk about how hard the race was. It was about 40 minutes long, averaged about 23.8 miles an hour. Loads of heart rate PBs, but no power PBs. I think that's a good indicator of where my current fitness is at. But a normalised power for just under 40 minutes of 345 watts, and I didn't start my Wahoo till a couple of laps in. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's not a bad number, and I think that shows I've perhaps not lost too much fitness. I haven't really got any massive, like, 10, 20 second, 1 minute powers, but they were okay. Just got a bit of sharpness to figure out for the next few weeks. So, yeah, on to the full race debrief. Okay, I'm back home now. Thanks to Richard for getting some race footage. I'm hoping he's got some anyway, so I'll overlay that as I'm talking about the race. The weather turned terrible, so we didn't hang around for very long afterwards. Support crew, thank you very much to the people who came out and supported us this evening, the people who hung around after their races as well and stuff. It was excellent. We are by far the best supported club at these races, and it is brilliant. It really spurs us on, especially when these guys are shouting attack at us every lap. Really helpful. No, genuinely though, cheers guys. So tonight's race, firstly, Kate placed 7th, so she's scored some more points again. I think she's actually the highest point scorer this year in the race squad, so putting us to shame. Excellent work by her. Onto the Cat 4 race. So we only had 3 of us in the Cat 4s tonight. Matt was doing the Cat 3, but he pulled out because he's doing a 25 TT tomorrow, which I'm also doing, and he wants to have fresh legs for it. So we'll see how that works out. I'm a little bit scared. So onto my race. It was spitting when we started the race. The rain got a bit heavier throughout the race, and it was pretty wet. So number 1 priority was don't stack it. There was only 20 people in the race, so it was a relatively small field. After 4 or 5 laps, I forgot to start my Wahoo until like 3 laps in, but after 4 or 5 laps, a small break established. There were 4 guys up the road. James Saxby, my teammate, attacked and tried to get across, and he was halfway across, and then he was just dangling for a couple of laps, and I could see him, and it's so hard because you can't do anything. Like, I was on the front of the second group trying to slow it down more than anything, because I wanted obviously James to get across to the break and that break to establish, because then he's got a decent sprint on him, a strong rider, he stands a good chance of placing well in that sort of scenario. Unfortunately, he got brought back to us, and then the gap was too big to the break to be able to bridge. They weren't, I think they're about 15 seconds up the road, which is a big distance to try and close on such a tight, twisty circuit. Not one that I could do myself, and not many other people were motivated to do it. And James had obviously just flogged himself to try and get across, and we weren't in the position to do it. So we spent the next few laps still riding hard. I attacked, and I got a little gap and tried to stay away and get across, but it just didn't stick. And of course, then I'd spent a few laps just recovering. Then for the next, well, all the remaining laps, we rode like we knew what we were doing. I spoke about this for a while. We're using this season to get some race experience. Some of the guys and girls have already raced a fair bit, and some haven't. Lewis tonight, his first race, for example, finished in about 13th place. Excellent result, and he was in the mix up until he dropped off the second group a little way into it. But he's not been riding a bike very long, so excellent performance. We're trying to focus on getting a bit of experience, figuring out what on earth to do. I'm a triathlete. I don't know what I'm doing in a bike race. I watch a fair bit of bike racing on YouTube and obviously on TV and stuff, so I feel like I know what I'm doing, but the reality is very different. Obviously, hindsight, we should have either brought that breaker 4 back straight away, or kept working and brought them back, whatever, or got in it. But James and I were riding like we knew what we were doing. So I would go on the front with James, and he was in front of me, and I'd like ease off and let a little gap appear, and he'd then attack, and he'd have 2 or 3 bike lengths already, and then somebody would come around me, bring him back, I'd get on their wheel, James would come back, and then I'd attack, just using the benefits of having 2 teammates in the group. We did actually shell a few people out of that group, so it was only a reduced bunch. And then coming into the last lap, I worked hard with James on my wheel to try and get him in a good position. But with a lap to go, I couldn't quite hold off the whole group that we were with. There was one bloke who was quite a big bloke and obviously had a fair bit of power behind him, came around me, and James actually followed his wheel through, which was the right thing to do, because he probably sensed that I wasn't going very well, or I'd not much left in the tank, and he followed him through for the remainder of the last lap, and then got to the last corner. I was right behind him. I didn't quite have enough to get around him, and I think if I'd got around him, I wouldn't have been of any use, so I didn't want to get in front of him and almost impede him. Came out the last corner, gave it everything I got. It was about a probably 15-20 second sprint to the line. Just gave it everything I had. We caught the Cat 3s, which made it a bit messy in the finish, but what can you do? James placed 5th, and I placed 8th. So James won the bunch sprint overall from the group we were in, which is excellent. That's very promising for the future, and I was only a couple of places back. So that's actually my first points I've ever scored in a British cycling race. So really happy to get 2 points on the board. I only need 10 more to become a Cat 3, so I just need to win a Cat 4 race, and that'll do. My knee and my leg was absolutely fine. I cannot believe that this time last week I could hardly walk on it, and then now it's absolutely fine. So I'm going to commit to cycling for the next few weeks, work towards the national 12-hour, do a few more races. I've got a TT tomorrow, then a crit race next week. But other than that, focusing on the 12-hour preparation and hoping to have a great day there. So that is it for today's video. It felt so good to be out racing, albeit the weather was terrible, but other than that, was okay. Thank you very much to anybody who supported tonight, and a couple of people said hi, they've seen the video, so thank you very much. Hoping to do a fair bit more of this bike racing as I figure out what on earth I'm doing. And that is it for today's video. So thanks to Richard for picking the camera up, and that is it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock for a 25-mile time trial, where I'm hoping to discover how much fitness I've lost over the last few weeks, but I'm going to give it the beans, so see you later.